10 years are over.
Wait, wasn't Celeste supposed to be Byron's future wife? Byron is the Godfather. He has standards.
Celeste, I'm truly sorry. I did mention the scholarship to Byron. Please don't blame him.
The prom after party had descended into chaos by the time the spinning bottle stopped, pointing straight at Natalie. Of course I have a boyfriend. Her gaze slid toward Byron, the boy I had loved for 10 years. The room fell silent. Then everyone erupted. I looked toward the corner where Byron sat. He had told me countless times, Celeste, on prom night, I'll tell everyone that when I become Godfather, you're going to be my wife. But now he was slouched on that leather sofa, not even looking at me. Someone whistled. Prove it. Natalie smiled. She stood and walked straight to Byron. She cupped his face, bent down, and kissed him in front of everyone. He didn't push her away. He reached up and deepened the kiss without so much as glancing at me. I dropped my gaze. My 10 years were over. Whistles. Screams. Applause. The noise hit me like a wall. Oh my God. I knew it. When did this happen? Natalie straightened, a pretty flush on her cheeks. The day Byron became Godfather, she said. That was when he finally stopped hiding us. Every eye in the room fixed on the new couple. No one saw me in the corner. No one noticed the breath leaving my lungs. I watched Byron lift a hand and casually wipe his mouth. Come on, tell us. Who made the first move? We want details. The crowd pressed in around them. Natalie gave Byron a coy little look. It wasn't anything dramatic. The day he became Godfather, I texted him to congratulate him. She laid it all out, asking him to meet her by the lake, taking his hand, the way he hadn't pulled away, how naturally it had all happened. Every detail drew louder teasing. Every detail sent another glance in my direction. Wait, wasn't there something between Byron and Celeste? They grew up together. Wasn't Celeste supposed to be Byron's future wife? Who told you that? Byron never even looked at her that way. He probably just treated her like a sidekick. Celeste? The tomboy nobody even sees as a girl? Why would Byron want her? Exactly. Who would want her? Byron is the Godfather. He has standards. You guys know about her seafood allergy, right? That ER thing? Byron made her pasta with shrimp paste and didn't even remember she was allergic. Sent her straight to the hospital. Natalie wanted that full-ride scholarship back then. Celeste was her only real competition. You figure it out. That's brutal. Natalie really went all in. Natalie wore a look of perfect innocence, without a shred of remorse. Victory shone in her eyes. Celeste, I'm truly sorry. I did mention the scholarship to Byron. He must have been so focused on helping me that your allergy slipped his mind. Please don't blame him. If you have to blame someone, blame me. Everyone could see how little Byron cared. Everyone except me. Or maybe I had known all along. Byron had started keeping his distance when I was 15. Sometimes I would see him on the street, and he would duck his head and walk past me like I was a stranger. Once, I caught up to him and asked what was wrong. I'm afraid you'll be targeted by rival families. I'm afraid you'll be in danger, he said. Back then, it had made me dizzy with hope. I thought it meant he loved me too. Then I saw him with Natalie, tucking a strand of wind-blown hair behind her ear, smiling like he had stepped into sunlight. That day, I walked over to ask what was going on. His smile vanished, and his voice turned cold. Need something? I told myself he was only putting on an act, protecting his authority as Godfather in front of outsiders. Then he unfollowed me on Instagram and deleted our photos from his page. I told myself he was only cleaning up his social media so no one could identify his weak spot. Now I finally understood why that excuse had never felt convincing. He wasn't afraid of rival families. He was afraid Natalie would see, afraid she would be upset. He had used the trust one placed in him to destroy my chance at a full-ride scholarship. He had handed me that plate of pasta so gently, his voice soft, his movements careful. This was the boy who had grown up beside me, ridden bikes with me, and written in my yearbook that we would love each other forever. And, because of another girl, he had forgotten the one thing that could have killed me. That day, I used my EpiPen and missed the final scholarship interview. My eyes burned. I bit my lip until I tasted blood, sharp and metallic. I looked at Byron and forced the words out. Is it true? He sat beside Natalie, frowning. Does it matter? It can't be changed now. His tone was flat, as if we were talking about what to have for dinner. It felt like a hand had closed around my throat. I couldn't say a word. He didn't care. Not about the 18 years we had spent growing up side by side. Not about the future we could have had. I bit the inside of my cheek hard enough to taste blood, clinging to the sharp sting to keep myself from falling apart. I stood up and ran out. Laughter followed me out, turning my escape into one final humiliation. Celeste, don't go. You put up with him ignoring you before, so why act hurt now? Is she actually crying? Let her go home and cry. Byron was never with her. Why is she being so dramatic? I stood for a long time on the dark suburban street while the night wind dried the tears on my face. My phone lit up with a message from Byron. Where are you? Come back. Don't make this ugly. I stared at the words and became 7 years old again, small for my age, always unwanted when the neighborhood kids played games. Byron had been the one to take my hand and tell me he would always stay with me. That boy had once been my shield against the whole world. Now he was telling me not to make things ugly. It was just truth or dare. Come back. I'll explain. Just truth or dare. My hand trembled around the phone. The memories wouldn't stop. When I was 10, I came down with a brutal cold. My father wasn't home, and Byron climbed over our backyard fence to bring me cough syrup. The neighbor's golden retriever chased him for 3 blocks. When I was 12, I lost the spelling bee. He tossed his first-place trophy into the trash and told me losing didn't matter. Next time, he would help me win it back. When I was 15, a boy at homecoming made a filthy joke and reached for my skirt. Byron hit him so hard the boy ended up badly hurt. Byron needed 3 stitches above his own brow, but he grinned at me and said it didn't hurt at all. Had he changed? Or had he always been like this and I had refused to see it? Had I been lying to myself all along? I decided to believe him one last time. I clenched my teeth, turned around, and ran back. Full of hope, I pushed open the door. A bucket of ice water came crashing down from above the doorframe, soaking my hair, blurring my vision, and plastering my t-shirt and jeans to my skin until every curve of my body showed. I stood there shaking while the crowd burst into laughter, and the boys looked me up and down with filthy eyes. Holy shit. She actually came back. Natalie, how did you know she would come back? Natalie only smiled, her eyes fixed on Byron's neck. Byron, a bet is a bet. Give me the necklace. Now. Natalie leaned into Byron, her fingers sliding over his neck before tracing lazy, suggestive circles on his chest. Natalie laughed. Your favorite fallback girl. One call, and she comes running. Byron's gaze skimmed over me. Then he lifted a hand and unclasped the silver chain around his neck. Half an antique compass pendant hung from it. I wore the other half. I had loved that pendant the moment I saw it. Byron had no money then, so he saved every dollar he earned boxing until he could buy it for me. Our lucky charm, he said. From then on, we each wore one half and never took them off, not even in the shower. I had imagined we would wear them until our wedding day, when we would finally fit the 2 halves together. Now he was handing his half to Natalie. She held it up to the light, her smile bright and vicious. So pretty. It's mine now. And so are you. I wiped ice water from my eyes and stared at Byron. He glanced at me, and the sneer on his face disappeared. What? Do I need your permission to give away something that's mine? I bought it. No explanation. No apology. Just a bucket of ice water, a room full of malice, and his indifference as he ground our vows under his heel. He was no longer the boy who would fight the whole world for me. Let's go. I booked a room downtown. Karaoke next. Keep the party going. The crowd surged toward the door. As Natalie passed me, she shoved me. I pitched forward and fell, my knees slamming into the floor. Pain shot through both knees. She looked back with a sweet, innocent smile. Oops. Celeste, did you trip? Then she hooked her arm through Byron's and walked out with a sway of her hips. He let her pull him along. As he passed me, he lowered his head for one brief glance. It was so brief I couldn't tell what was in it. Then he looked away and left with her. I knelt on the cold floor while blood from my knees mixed with the ice water dripping from my hair. Drip, drip, barely audible. Somehow unbearable. I could not go home. If Dad saw me like this, his heart would break. I didn't have much cash on me. I had spent almost all of it on the cufflinks Byron liked best, so the only place I could afford was a cheap motel. I stood under the hot shower for a long time, waiting for my body to remember how to feel. When I came out, my phone screen was lit. Every notification was from Byron. Your dad called. Asked when you're coming home. I said you were with me. Go back early. Where are you? Are you safe? Then came a FaceTime request. I hesitated, then answered. His face filled the screen, still unfairly handsome. When he saw the room behind me, he frowned. You're in a motel? Which one? None of your business. Silence. Then his voice hardened into a command. Stay there. Don't move. I don't want to deal with your dad. Back then, my father had believed Byron loved me too. Quietly, he had given Byron enough help to secure his position as Godfather. Now my father was just someone he had to deal with. Byron. I looked straight into his eyes through the screen and asked one last time, the compass pendant. Are you really giving it to her? He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. You said it was ours. You said we would put the halves together on our wedding day. Silence. You gave it to Natalie. So what am I? He swallowed. It's just a cheap piece of metal. I laughed. Right. Cheap. Worthless. Just like me. Celeste. He frowned, and I hung up. Half an hour later, someone knocked on the door. It was a delivery driver. Inside the bag were a tube of antibiotic ointment for scrapes and a warm box of mac and cheese. I sat on the edge of the motel bed while my phone kept buzzing. In the class Instagram group chat, someone had posted a video. Natalie and Byron were singing at the party. Natalie leaned on his shoulder, drinking. Together, they sang a Taylor Swift love song. The comments came pouring in. Oh my God, the way Byron looks at her. I'm dying. They are perfect together. Kiss already. In the video, Byron was smiling at Natalie with pure adoration. He had never looked at me that way. Not once in 18 years. The video froze at the moment Natalie leaned close to him, her lips parted. Then Natalie updated Instagram. She posted 2 photos, one of her and Byron at the party, and another of her full ride award certificate. Caption, the perfect ending. A full ride. And someone who loves me. The comments from mutual friends stung. So jealous. Future wife of the Godfather. She replied with a heart emoji. Someone is definitely losing her mind over this. That tomboy. Yeah, the one hiding behind her screen and stalking this. I locked my phone and fell back onto the cheap mattress. Water stains blotched the ceiling and the fluorescent light stabbed at my eyes. I thought of all the years I had worked myself to the bone for that scholarship. I had given up cheer tryouts, studied until 3 in the morning, sacrificed every weekend, and filled more than a dozen binders with review notes. I had been one step away from that dream. With the scholarship, I could have opened the bakery I wanted in Boston someday. He didn't know that every plan I had made for after graduation led to Boston, the place he wanted to go. He had said he loved the East Coast, loved the snow in Boston. And now? I sat up, picked up my phone, and accepted UC San Diego's offer. California, the place Byron would never go. He hated summer, said he could not stand the California sun. Back then, my father had urged me to leave myself a way out, so I had applied to a college in a place I thought I would never set foot in for the rest of my life. But suddenly, the thought of palm trees and West Coast sunshine sounded damn good. California. The farther from him, the better. When the green acceptance banner appeared, I turned off my phone and dumped the cold mac and cheese into the trash. He knew I hated cream. The smell made me sick, and he had still bought it for me. He didn't remember details like that. Just as he had known I was waiting for him and still never once walked toward me. The next day, I planned to go back to school and pack up my things. But the moment I stepped into the hallway, every glance that landed on me was loaded with contempt. Ran off to a motel to hook up on prom night. Nasty. Who? Who else? That tomboy. Someone got a video. I stopped walking. Natalie stood a few yards away, surrounded by cheerleaders. She was holding up an iPhone, playing a video. The video showed the motel hallway from the night before. Me, soaked through, holding a room key. Desperate to get laid, huh? Natalie covered her mouth and laughed, each word dipped in poison. Whispers spread around me. Stares cut into my skin. I walked over and stopped in front of her. Deleted. Why should I? She tilted her head, all innocence. You went to that dump of a motel all by yourself. That's not my fault. You're spreading rumors. Am I? She turned to Byron. Byron, tell everyone. Did she go there to meet some guy? Byron stood to the side. He looked at the video on her phone, then at me. Byron. My voice shook. Tell her. Tell her why I was there last night. He knew exactly what had happened. Every single thing. Even if he no longer cared about me. Even if 18 years meant nothing. At the very least, he could tell the truth. Right? He looked me in the eye, his voice casual. If you're innocent, you have nothing to fear, right? I thought I had misheard him. What? If you didn't do anything wrong, what are you scared of? He looked away, utterly unconcerned. Just ignore them. There's no need to fight with Natalie. Because he had sent the ointment the night before, I had let myself believe there might still be a thread of guilt in him somewhere. But that small gesture of guilty concern was not even worth one sentence in my defense. My voice rang down the hallway. Byron, you're really going to go this far to protect her? She's spreading lies online, saying I hooked up with some random guy, and you're telling me to ignore it? She used your mistake to take everything from me, and you're telling me to let it go? As Godfather. Byron cut me off. His voice was even louder. What the hell do you want me to say? You didn't get the scholarship. She got the full ride. The committee chose her, not you. All you can do is stand here screaming like a lunatic, and it won't change anything. That scholarship was never supposed to be yours. I froze. Tears slid down my face without a sound. The hallway went so quiet you could have heard a pin drop. I turned to leave. Natalie suddenly reached out and grabbed the silver locket bracelet on my wrist. Wait, what are you wearing? The chain snapped. My locket bracelet slipped from my hand and fell through the gap by the stairwell. 3 floors down. I watched it arc through the air, a flash of silver before it struck the wooden floor of the main hall. It was the only thing my mother had left me before she died, a silver bracelet with a small locket charm. She had said it would protect me and keep me safe for the rest of my life. The bracelet had broken once before. I cried so hard I almost made myself sick. Byron rode his bike to every jewelry store in town until he found someone who could solder it back together. He fastened it back around my wrist and said, if it ever breaks again, I'll buy you the most beautiful one in the world. I was shaking all over when I shoved Natalie. She stumbled, screamed, and fell backward. Byron caught her, steadied her, and tucked her against him. Then he glared at me, his eyes as cold as a frozen lake. Celeste, enough. Stop acting like a psycho bitch. I looked at him, then at Natalie in his arms, unharmed and smiling like a winner. I said nothing. I turned and ran downstairs. Outside, rain poured down. I dropped to my knees on the hall floor and searched like a madwoman. My nails split as I dug into the seams between the floorboards. The pain was sharp and distant. Laughter drifted down from upstairs. Look at her down there. Like a stray dog. More like a drowned rat. Their laughter cut through the thunder and drove straight into my spine. The locket bracelet was ruined. The silver locket was dented, and the tiny glass frame inside had shattered into powder. I picked it up and closed my fist around it. Shards of glass bit into my skin. Blood welled up and dripped onto the floor. Kneeling in that empty hall, I finally let myself fall apart. I never went back to school. I had already accepted my college offer, and my high school diploma was mailed home. Byron texted me again and again. Celeste, stop throwing a tantrum like a child. Natalie meant no harm. The locket bracelet broke. I'll find someone to fix it. My parents want to invite you over for a barbecue this weekend. Will you come? I got the compass necklace back. I didn't reply to any of them. 3 months later, just before fall semester began, he finally appeared in our driveway. He rang the doorbell. No one answered. He called. It went straight to voicemail. He texted, "Celeste, let me take you to Boston. You always said you wanted to picnic by the Charles River." The Charles River. The place we had sworn we would go together. He had said he would bring flowers and make a real confession. Our neighbor, Mrs. Hill, was trimming the hedge. She sighed. "Byron, stop looking. Celeste went to school. That girl got into UC San Diego. She said she won't be coming back." Byron's hands started to shake. His expression went still. "She went to California?" Byron snapped his head up, his voice tight. She never told me she applied to college in California." How could? The acceptance letter came months ago. She left for the West Coast 2 days ago. Said she wanted to surf in Santa Cruz and clear her head before orientation. California. The West Coast. She had really gone to bright, sun-drenched California. He had always said he hated California. Hated the heat. Hated the blinding sun. He had a serious sun allergy. So she had chosen it. A world without him. He sat on my front steps until dark. Then my dad pulled into the driveway in his old black sedan. "Mr. Hill." Byron stood up at once. "Byron, what are you doing here?" My father looked puzzled. "Celeste, did she really go to California?" At that question, my father understood. He nodded toward the house. "Come in. Have a beer." Byron followed him inside. The house was quiet. On the mantel sat a photo from my 8th birthday. I was wearing a paper crown, grinning with 2 front teeth missing. He stood beside me, holding the first slice of pizza I had cut. Tomato sauce was smeared on his cheek. My father looked at him calmly, with the particular sharpness only a father can have. "Byron, what happened between you and Celeste is not something I should interfere with." My father took a sip of beer. "But her mother died when she was young. Celeste has always been afraid of losing people. If someone is even a little kind to her, she gives them her whole heart. But once someone hurts her, I don't think she ever trusts that person the same way again. Sir, please help me. I was wrong. I thought Celeste would never leave." Byron's voice was hoarse. My father said nothing. He reached toward the bar, picked up a sticky note, then set it back down. "I won't give you her address. She told me she wants a completely fresh start." Byron stared at him, fingers trembling. For a moment, he looked as if he might beg again. In the end, he only lowered his head. He turned toward the door, but Dad stopped him. "Byron, sir, if she doesn't want to see you, don't force her. Be a man. Leave with dignity." Byron didn't answer. He opened the door and disappeared into the night. The sea breeze in Santa Cruz smelled like freedom. I sat on the second-floor terrace and watched the Pacific turn from emerald to splintered gold beneath the California sunset, then sink into deep indigo. I had posted one photo of that view before thinking better of it and locking my account. I had been there 3 days. In the mornings, I ran along Highway 1. In the afternoons, I rented a surfboard. At night, I hung out with backpackers at the RV campground. Beer. Burritos. A woman from Texas took a liking to me. By the bonfire, she grabbed my hand and said, "Honey, are you here by yourself? Do you have a boyfriend?" I smiled and shook my head. "I'll introduce you to my son. He goes to Texas A&M. He's such a good boy." Everyone around the bonfire burst out laughing, and I laughed with them. A full, real laugh. My phone held more than a dozen unread messages, all from Byron. I didn't open a single one. The signal was bad anyway. I tossed my phone onto the nightstand, changed into a white strappy sundress, and stepped barefoot into the sandy backyard. The California coastline stretched endlessly before me. I breathed in sea salt and freedom. God, it felt good. A world without Byron could be good. Truly good. When Byron found me, I was in the backyard with a hose, watering the landlord's succulents. I wore a pale green dress, my hair loosely pinned up and already half undone by the sea wind. He stood outside the wooden fence. I looked up and our eyes met. I froze for a second, turned off the hose, and headed for the door. Celeste. He pushed open the gate and caught up to me at the door. Let me explain. There's nothing to say. I kept my head down because I didn't want to look into his eyes. How did you find me? You posted a picture from the terrace. I recognized the rental listing. Silence. I turned to close the door. His hand shot out and caught the door frame. Celeste. That party. I can explain. Explain what? I finally lifted my head, my eyes burning red. Explain that you and Natalie really got together? Or explain how all these years, you've treated me like a clingy burden? Like some backup girl who annoyed you. We were never official. Then why did you let her kiss you? It was a dare. A dare. I let out a cold laugh, and the last bit of light in me went out. Byron. On your 17th birthday, we played truth or dare in the basement. I lost and had to kiss you. What did you say to me then? Have you forgotten? Don't play cheap games like that. Have some self-respect. His face went white. I remember. You remember? My voice cracked with anger, pain, and betrayal. You remember, and you still let another girl kiss you? You remember, and you still gave her a token? You remember, and you still stood there in front of everyone, watched me get soaked, and said nothing. Don't say anything. I shoved the door hard. I never want to see you again. The wooden door slammed shut in his face. I leaned against it while tears spilled down my cheeks and fell to the floor. He stood outside for a long time. I never opened the door. That night, Dad called me on FaceTime. Celeste, how's the California sun treating you? Amazing, Dad. I curled up on the sofa, my voice muffled. Byron found you? Yeah. Did you two fight? After a long silence, I asked a question that sounded completely unrelated. Dad, why did you fall in love with Mom? He was quiet for a while. Your mom? His rough voice softened. She was good to me, not just with words. I could feel it. I knew I mattered to her. Then what does real love look like to you? Another pause. A sigh. Silly girl. You actually know. Deep down, you've always known. Real love makes you feel safe. It doesn't leave you anxious all the time, asking yourself over and over whether he loves you. I forced a smile. It felt uglier than crying. Dad, Byron doesn't love me. He's just used to having me around. Like a stray dog in the backyard. Too much trouble to chase away. But Dad, I don't want to be that dog anymore. On the other end of the call, Dad let out a long breath. Then don't be. Celeste, whatever you decide, I'm on your side. The next day, I went to the beach as usual. Byron followed me like a shadow. The California sun was brutal, and he walked under a huge black umbrella because of his severe sun allergy. When he was little, 10 minutes in strong sunlight would raise a red rash on his neck that itched so badly he couldn't sleep all night. Can you really handle this? I stopped walking. His eyes lit up. Are you worried about me? I'm worried you'll die in California and the police will ask me for a statement. I turned and kept walking. He didn't leave. I rented a beach cruiser and rode along Highway 1. He rented a car and followed behind. The sunlight was making him worse by the hour. His face turned red and raw, and angry hives spread across his neck. I went to the farmer's market and bought avocados. He followed 20 steps behind me. When I stopped, he stopped too, like a ghost that refused to be driven away. On the third day, an ambulance took him to the emergency room in Santa Cruz. Severe sun poisoning, heat stroke, dehydration. The hospital called me because I was listed as his emergency contact. At the time, I was sitting beside a food truck, eating fish and chips. I stood in the California sea wind for a long time, phone in my hand. Then I threw the rest of my food away, called an Uber, and went straight to San Francisco International Airport. I didn't go to the hospital. As I passed through security, I sent him one last message. Stop following me. By the time I landed in San Diego, there were 17 unread texts and 5 missed calls. They were all from Byron. The last one said, Celeste, You won't even come see me once? Not even once. I swiped the notification away and didn't reply. September in Southern California was still blazing hot. I dragged my suitcase along the sunlit sidewalk, and a strange feeling rose in my chest. There were palm trees everywhere, wide lawns, and new faces bright with the same anticipation I felt. No one here knew my past in Ohio. No one would laugh at me for being Byron's shadow or for being that tomboy girl. I took a deep breath and smiled. During Welcome Week, I demolished everyone at beer pong during a fraternity icebreaker. My teammates stared at me stunned. My roommate grabbed my arm and screamed, "Celeste, you're so cool." I'm not even kidding. Classes began, busy and full. I pinned my Santa Cruz Polaroids to the corkboard above my desk. The Pacific. An orange sunset. Me standing beside a surfboard, smiling without a trace of shadow. That was the day I took my life back. Byron's messages never stopped. "Celeste, I sent you the snacks you like. Your favorites. Watch for the package. Is California hot? Remember to stay hydrated." Today I saw a stray cat in front of my house. It looked a lot like the orange cat you used to have. "Celeste, just reply with one sentence. Please. Just one." I blocked him and changed my number. Packages arrived at the dorm mailroom. I glanced at the sender label, slapped on a return to sender sticker, and tossed each one into the outgoing bin. He sent more. I returned every one. Finally, the packages stopped. He came himself. During Thanksgiving break, he took a 6-hour flight across the country and stood outside my dorm with a bouquet of white roses. I came out of the library and saw him. I didn't slow down. I walked past him without expression. "Celeste." He chased after me. I didn't stop. I swiped my card, and the dorm's glass door closed in front of him. Still, he didn't leave. He stood outside all night. The Southern California air gradually turned cool. The next morning, I opened the blinds and saw him sitting on the bench downstairs, his head bowed over the wilted roses like someone who had been abandoned. I stared for 3 seconds, then yanked the blinds shut. Before winter break ended, he came again. That winter, Southern California was hit by an unusual stretch of heavy rain. It fell without stopping. He wore only a thin hoodie, his lips blue from the cold. When I walked out of the classroom building, he was standing out in the rain. I opened my umbrella and walked past him. The edge of the umbrella brushed his shoulder. He didn't reach out to grab me, not like in the movies. He only stood in the rain and watched me disappear into campus, hopeless beyond words. Later, my roommate asked, "Who is that guy?" "He's pretty handsome. He's been waiting outside for days. Is he trying to win you back?" I didn't lift my head from my textbook. I don't know him. By the following fall, I had fallen in love. His name was Alfred, a mechanical engineering major who was gentle, steady, and quietly funny in a way that made ordinary days feel easier. Alfred was nothing like Byron. No pretty speeches. No empty promises. When I studied for midterms until I was exhausted, he would set an iced latte on my desk without making a show of it and without waiting for me to ask. When cramps curled me into a ball and I couldn't move, he already had painkillers and a heating pad ready. No fuss. When I felt low, he didn't pry. He simply sat with me by the sea and listened to the waves. By the time he asked me to be his girlfriend, the answer already felt calm and obvious. With Alfred, it felt as though someone had finally opened an umbrella over me and stayed. Not like Byron, who was always walking ahead, leaving me to chase him through the rain and wait for him to look back. Alfred was always there. One ordinary Saturday, Byron flew in to find me again. 3 years after I left Ohio, he had grown used to 6-hour red-eye flights, used to the West Coast, used to the sun he had once sworn he hated. He had haunted almost every corner of my life there. Standing under my dorm, waiting outside my classroom building, looking in through the library glass. Not once did I stop for him. This time, he walked into a Starbucks near campus. Through the floor-to-ceiling window, he saw me sitting in a booth by the glass. Alfred leaned down with a smile and wiped a bit of whipped cream from the corner of my mouth with his thumb. I didn't move away. I leaned against his shoulder. The Starbucks door flew open, and someone rushed in like a madman. Byron's eyes were bloodshot when he grabbed Alfred by the hoodie. "Who the fuck are you?" Before Alfred could react, Byron's fist smashed into his cheekbone. The table went over. Iced coffee splashed everywhere, and cups shattered across the floor. "Byron, are you insane?" I screamed. He ignored me and pulled his fist back again. Alfred wasn't a fighter, but he wasn't a pushover either. He recovered from the first punch, twisted free, and shoved Byron back. They crashed into a row of tables and chairs. I tried to pull them apart, but someone's arm swung out and knocked me backward. The manager called the police. Later, under the harsh fluorescent lights of the campus security office, my eyes ached. Byron's lip was split. One of Alfred's eyes was swollen purple. Both of them sat bleeding at opposite ends of the bench. After the officer finished taking statements, he asked whether we wanted to handle it privately. Byron's jaw was tight. "I'm not apologizing." I finally lifted my head, tired and disgusted. "Byron, are you done?" "Me?" He glared at me, his eyes so red they looked about to bleed. "Celeste, you're with someone else, and you didn't even tell me. Why would I tell you?" Because what?" I stood and let out a cold, trembling laugh. "Because you thought I would revolve around you forever? Because you thought I was still that idiot chasing after you? Your backup? Aren't you with Natalie?" "Didn't you say you too?" "Natalie and I were never officially together." "Fuck. Never officially." He was shouting now, almost hysterical. "Celeste, it was always you." The office went deathly silent. I looked at him, and for the first time, it didn't make me want to cry. "Byron, you flew thousands of miles to California to tell me this. Don't you think that's pathetic? Don't you think it's too late?" "It's not too late. Celeste, nothing is too late." "It is." I laughed coldly. "It was already too late when that bucket of ice water poured over my head, and you stood there watching. It was already too late when you gave Natalie the only token we had. It was already too late when you looked me in the eye in front of everyone and said, 'If you're innocent, you have nothing to fear.' Byron, you're 3 years late." He opened his mouth. A dry, hoarse sound came out, but not a single word. I turned and took Alfred's hand, holding tight. "Let's go." Byron tried to follow us to the door, but campus police stopped him. He stood at the entrance to the security office and watched Alfred and me get into an Uber. In the rearview mirror, I saw him hunched on the curb, his face buried in his arms, the boy who had once walked through the halls like he owned the world. Only later did I learn that his father got the call that night, flew in, and posted bail. On the day I graduated from college, with an English degree and my teacher certification program completed, I went home. After round of interviews, I accepted a teaching position at a solid local high school. Life became steady. I taught on weekdays, went to Dad's for barbecues on weekends, and FaceTimed Alfred at night. He was interning several states away, so we were long distance for a while. We never missed a goodnight call or a good morning text, and when he talked about marrying me someday, it felt less like a promise and more like a place I could actually live. Life settled into a quiet, comfortable rhythm. Back in that small town, I sometimes ran into Byron. Target, intersections, gas stations. He had lost a lot of weight. His jaw looked sharper, and the dark circles under his eyes seemed permanent. Whenever our eyes met by accident, we both looked away. We never spoke. Once, at the grocery store, I stood on tiptoe for a can of tomato sauce on the top shelf. I tried again and again, but I couldn't reach it. A long, elegant hand reached over my head and took it down with ease. It was Byron. I took the can without saying thank you and pushed my cart away. No footsteps followed. While I waited in line at the register, I saw him out of the corner of my eye. He was still standing behind that aisle, empty-handed, just watching me leave. I looked away, swiped my card, paid, and left. Some chapters, once closed, should stay closed. That Thanksgiving, after asking me first, Dad suggested having turkey with Byron's family. "We've been neighbors for too many years to pretend they don't exist," Dad said. "But if you don't want to go, we won't." Byron's mother, Mrs. What, had red eyes through the entire meal. She kept trying to speak, but every time she opened her mouth, she closed it again. Halfway through dinner, Dad set down his knife and fork and cleared his throat. "I have good news. I'd like to share it with everyone." Everyone looked at him. Celeste and Alfred are getting engaged. Early next month. The table went silent for 3 full seconds. Byron's fork clattered onto his plate. He didn't pick it up. His head stayed bowed, his shoulders trembling. "Mrs. What finally stammered, when did this happen? They've been together for years. He's been here. He's a good man. Solid." Dad's voice stayed calm, and he didn't look away from Byron. "Mr. Hill." Byron raised his head, eyes bloodshot and frightening. Is she really going to?" "Yes," Dad cut him off. Byron didn't ask again. He picked up his fork, wiped it with his napkin, and set it beside his plate. He didn't eat a single bite of that Thanksgiving dinner. I didn't look at him once. I kept my head down, ate my mashed potatoes, and cleaned my plate. That night, after I got home and showered, I lay in bed scrolling through my phone. The old school iMessage group chat was exploding. Someone had forwarded a screenshot of a BuzzFeed article. Headline: College admissions scandal. Socialite expelled over fraudulent application and scholarship scheme. The girl in the article was Natalie. She had not earned that full ride on merit at all. Her rich father had bribed a college rowing coach, falsified her athletic record, and hired someone to take the SAT for her. After the story broke, federal agents arrested her father. Federal charges followed, and Natalie was expelled, with fraud charges pending. The scandal was already 2 years old. Someone dug it up that night and dropped it into the group chat, along with a thread explaining that Byron's mistake had helped keep me out of the final scholarship interview, while Natalie had been lying about her scores all along. Oh my God. Is Natalie going to prison? I knew there was no way she scored that high. Bought her way in. Wait, isn't she still with Byron? Whatever they had once shared ended ages ago. Don't you know who Byron still can't let go of? Who else? Celeste. I scrolled through a little of the old gossip. My eyes paused on the screenshot for 1 second. Then I locked my phone. There was no victory in it. No satisfaction. I only felt that some people seal their own fate the moment they choose cruelty. Late that night, a fierce thunderstorm rolled in. Rain hammered the windows hard enough to make the glass tremble. Close to midnight, my phone vibrated. Byron again. Celeste. I'm in your driveway. I ignored it. It vibrated again. Can you come down? 1 minute. Please. I didn't move. Outside, the rain was coming down hard enough to drown the street. His screen was probably soaked. Messages came through in broken pieces. I know I don't deserve anything. But Celeste, I'm going crazy. I miss you so much. I gripped the phone until my knuckles turned white. Outside my window, his voice cut through the storm, broken and desperate. Celeste, I didn't go downstairs. He called my name again and again in the storm. Until his voice finally gave out, fading from a shout into a hoarse whisper. I didn't know when he finally left. The next morning, I opened the door to get the newspaper. A small velvet box sat on the doormat. It wasn't the old compass. It was a new locket bracelet, vintage sterling silver and exquisitely made. Beside it lay a note, warped by rain, the ink bleeding. The handwriting was almost unreadable. I went to every antique store in the state. The owner said it was the closest thing to perfect he had ever seen. Celeste, I can't replace what you lost, but I can give you something better. You said it would keep you safe. Let me protect you, with the rest of my life. Please. That night, another message came. From Byron. Celeste, I know you don't want to see me again, so I'm leaving. To California, the West Coast, the place you once stayed. I can't stay here and watch you walk down the aisle in a wedding dress. I don't think I'll come back. I stared at those words for a long time. His final message said, I'll wait. Celeste, I don't care how long it takes. 10 years. 20 years. I'll wait. Outside the window, a light rain began to fall. I stood by the window as cool mist drifted through the screen and brushed my cheeks. I remembered something from a long time ago. I was 15 in the first week of freshman year. Byron saw me in the hallway. His football friends started hooting, and he slung an arm over my shoulders with a grin. "Don't be stupid. She's just a sidekick." Then he turned and walked off laughing with them. I stood in front of my locker, watching his back grow smaller and smaller, stubbornly thinking, he'll come back. He'll come back. He had once sworn that when he grew up, when he became strong enough, he would take my hand in front of everyone and say proudly, "Not a sidekick. This is my girl. This is my future wife." Back then, I waited every day. I waited for him to look back. For him to keep those stupid, childish promises. For him to push Natalie away and come back to me. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Until my heart went cold. Until my tears ran dry. Until I finally woke up. He wasn't coming back. Then I went to California. I met someone who knew how to cherish me. I built a new life. My own life. I thought the word waiting had been erased from my life for good. Until today. Suddenly, I understood. Wasn't he doing the exact same thing now? Waiting for me to look back. Waiting for me to stop being angry. Waiting for me to become forgiving enough to give him one more chance. 1 year. 2 years. 3 years. He had gone from the arrogant godfather who thought the world belonged to him to a hollowed-out man with blue shadows under his eyes, defeated and desperate. He had learned to take red-eye flights to California alone, to stand in thunderstorms, to wander my street like a thief and stare at my window. The teenage version of me had once waited for him in despair. Now the grown man was waiting for me. Both of us had waited for someone who would never look back. Waiting is a quiet kind of collapse, a retreat no one sees. You tell yourself you're moving forward, but the obsession keeps you trapped in the same place. I picked up my phone and typed a reply. "Don't wait. Move forward. Sent." It was the first reply he had received in all those years of waiting. And the last. The moment my thumb hit send, I remembered something Dad had once told me. If you've already walked away, don't look back at the person who left you standing in the rain. I turned around and gently closed the window. The end.